Everything you've been told about burnout is a lie. You've been told that it's a workplace phenomenon that occurs as a result of unresolved workplace stress. You have been told that there are 12 linear stages and that boundaries, rest, delegation, and resilience are the magic ingredients that are going to magically make burnout disappear. But if all that were true, then we wouldn't be seeing burnout rise every single year. And if you yourself have lived and experienced burnout, then you know that all the stuff that's out there that's telling you what burnout is doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of what you went through, what you experienced, and probably what you're still trying to uncover and unpick and still come through the other side of. So in this video, I want to talk about what burnout really is. I want to talk about why you can't think your way out of it and what, as a coach, you need to be doing instead to stop burnout in its tracks, to help your clients come through the other side. Now, if we haven't met before, I am Kelly Swingler. My official title is the Burnoutologist. Now, 12 years ago, my first burnout made me really seriously ill. 2 years after that, my second one nearly killed me. So over the last 12 years, I have been joining the dots, really trying to get underneath what burnout is and what it isn't, and what it is that we need to be looking at and understanding. So I suppose I call myself a dot joiner when it comes to burnout. So I want to let's unpick this, shall we? So let's start with where we started, right? Burnout as a workplace phenomena. That's what the definition tells us, right? It's a workplace phenomenon as a result of unresolved workplace stress. Is that true? So yes, and it is so much more. And if we only look at just this tiny little aspect that is related to workplace stress, then we are missing everything else. Now, the workplace phenomena bit was a bit that was published by the World Health Organization in 2019. So the World Health Organization in 2019 told us that burnout was a workplace phenomenon. But in 2020, just a year later, there was another research project that concluded that told us that we did not have to be employed in order to experience burnout. And there have been lots of other research and information that has been published since then. And yet the World Health Organization still tells us that it's a workplace phenomenon. Now, if you were to go onto the definition, if you type in the definition of burnout, you will get the World Health Organization definition that comes up for you. That keeps expanding. Over the last few years, there have been a few, sentences here and there that have continued to be added. But at the bottom, it says that what's happening now is there is going to be some research that is undertaken to look at workplace well-being. Now, in my latest book that you can see just behind me here, I talk about the fact that workplace well-being is complete and utter BS. Because actually what's happening is when we think about workplace well-being, what most organizations are doing, right? How most organizations are treating their employees. If we think about it as like a 60-year-old overweight, heavy drinker that is smoking, sitting on the couch all day, just eating junk food, not sleeping properly, just watching crap on TV, not moving, not doing any of that stuff, right? They've got a really cynical view of the world. They're not social. They are completely withdrawing from life. But once a week, they do a meditation or they do a yoga class or they go for a walk. And we think, well, that's tick the box. So they must be really healthy now. That's what most organizations are talking about when they talk about workplace well-being. So regardless of whether the World Health Organization are going to do this research or not, I am calling BS on workplace well-being, because in effect, what it is doing is just sprinkling a little bit of well-being on top of toxic workplaces where systems are broken. Nobody's getting the support that they need. The resources aren't in place. The funding is not in place. The right support, the right training, none of that is in place. And yet we sprinkle on a little bit of well-being and we go, well, that's where it is. So if you want to take a look at the World Health Organization definition, go and have a look on their website. You will see that. And at the bottom, as I said, you'll see this tiny little line that says that they're going to be undergoing some research linked to workplace well-being. But I am saying absolute no to burnout being purely a workplace phenomenon. Again, I say that because we're seeing lots of different titles about burnout now, right? We're seeing carer burnout, we're seeing ADHD burnout, autism burnout, ADHD burnout, parental burnout, employee burnout. The titles go on and on and on and on. Fundamentally, burnout is burnout. We don't need all of the different titles in front of it. I understand why we're doing it, but fundamentally, right, it's because the definition that we have at the moment isn't fully giving us the true experience of burnout. So is burnout just a workplace phenomenon? Absolutely not. Do you need to be employed to experience burnout? Absolutely not. And I want to say here, nobody is immune to burnout. None of us. Every single one of us can experience burnout. And we need to understand that as well. So if you are being told, if you have been told that, like, burnout is just something that happens to lazy people, I've heard that over the years. If you're just told that burnout is what happens to just high achievers or high performers, I'm going to call it on that as well. None of us are immune to burnout. So we're going to call BS on all of that, right? That is a lie. We've also been told that there are just 12 stages of burnout. Now, many leaders, many managers, many coaches, many individuals look at those 12 stages and we assume that it's just a bit of a tick box, right? We go through each of the stages and it's like, well, I haven't got stage 3, so I can't be at burnout. Or no, I've not quite reached stage 7. So, or I skipped stage 7. So it can't be that. The 12 stages, again, are a helpful starting point when it comes to understanding burnout. But if we only look at it under that lens, again, we are missing everything else that burnout is. Burnout is also not linear. You don't just look at the 12 stages and go, yeah, okay, I'm past level 1, I'm past level 2, I'm past level 3. Right, it's not a game, right? There is no gamification. We don't get any prizes when we get to the next level. There is nothing there waiting for us, apart from perhaps the big baddie that is there at the end, that is trying to keep us alive and safe and well. So if you've just been told, and if you're only just focusing on the 12 stages of burnout, again, you are missing everything else that there is about burnout. So just like the World Health Organization definition, the 12 stages can be helpful. They can be a starting point, but they miss everything else that we're looking at when we talk about burnout. Burnout is not a tick box. It's not a check box, right? It's not a video game. There is no burnout bingo. You don't, tick all the bits on the card. There is no prize at the end. The prize at the end is burnout. You've probably also been told that boundaries, rest, delegation, and resilience are the magic ingredients that are going to cure burnout, right? And again, this is what we see people talking about on their social feeds, right? Everybody becomes an expert in burnout at least once a year. I've been seeing that for the last 12 years. At least once a year, every single coach becomes an expert in burnout. And they talk about the World Health Organization definition. They talk about the 12 stages, and then they give hints and tips of what it is that we need to do in order to end burnout, right? What we need to do to stop it, which usually involves setting more boundaries, taking more rest, delegating, and becoming more resilient. Now, all of those things are absolutely great for managing stress, but they are, quite frankly, useless when it comes to burnout. And here's why, right? Most explanations and most of everything that we're looking at only look at burnout from the 12 stages and the workplace phenomena, right? Now, those have been created, I suppose, from the psychology of burnout, but that is not the whole picture. Now, in 12 years of doing this work, here's what I know that we need to consider when we are looking at burnout. Yes, we need to look at the psychology, but not in isolation. We also need to understand what is going on in the brain, the nervous system. We need to get underneath the neuroscience. We need to understand the body. We need to understand the somatics. We need to understand the environment and the lived experience. And this is what I call burnoutology, right? The combination of sciences with what is actually going on for the individual as an individual, not as a tick box. So if we want to stop burnout, what we need to do is to solve what I call the burnout equation. Now, the burnout equation tells us this: toxicity minus sense of self equals burnout. So this isn't a mathematical equation, right? This is a concept. But toxicity minus sense of self equals burnout. Now, the toxicity can be workplace, it can be colleagues, it can be relationships. It could be thoughts, actions, behaviors. It could be self-talk, could be addictions. It could be not getting enough of the good stuff in life. It could be not enough self-care. It could be not enough boundaries. It could be not enough rest, not enough resilience. It could be all of those things. But fundamentally, there are people that work and that survive in toxic workplaces, that survive toxic relationships, that survive a lot of toxicity in all areas of their life, and never ever reach burnout. And for those individuals, a lot of them have a very strong sense of self, right? Their job does not become their entire sense of identity. The environment is just somewhere that they are in. And then when they leave it, they still feel whole. They still feel ready. But when we start to lose that sense of self, when we're finding ourselves masking, when we are finding ourselves hiding parts of ourselves, when it doesn't feel safe for us to be who we are, when it doesn't feel safe for us to be how we are, when it doesn't feel safe for us to be having conversations or speaking up or making a difference, all of those things then contribute. And when we combine a loss of our sense of self with toxicity, then we end up at burnout. Now, yes, there are different types of burnout. There are 3 different types of burnout. I talk about those in another video. There are lots and lots of things that we need to be considering. But burnout is not just a workplace phenomena. We cannot continue to only look at the psychology of burnout. We have to look at burnout as a whole. Now, again, if you have lived burnout, you will know that it isn't just a little bit of unresolved stress. Right. And still many people assume that. Right. Now, stress, if we are stressed, we remove the stressor, right? And everything is fine again. Burnout doesn't do that. Burnout can have a really long lasting impact. Burnout can impact us for life. The impact that it has on our body and our brain and our nervous system can impact us for life. We can end up living with serious health conditions, serious physical health conditions, serious mental and emotional health conditions. It can impact our relationships, our confidence, our decision making. It can impact our finances, our careers, how we show up in the world. There is not one part of our life that burnout doesn't impact when it takes hold. But if we continue to only talk about the psychology, we talk about the 12 stages, and we talk about the fact that it's just a workplace phenomenon, we have got people out there that are not getting the help or support that they need. We've got people out there that are seeing those definitions and going, well, that's not me, this can't be what I've had, and carrying on regardless. And this is where it becomes really, really not just unhelpful, but this is where it becomes harmful if we continue to just feed into the lie that burnout is just a workplace phenomenon, because it is so much more than that. Now, I said at the beginning of this video in my introduction, right, my first burnout made me really seriously ill. My second one nearly killed me. I have been living with the consequences of both of those burnout in my body for 12 years. With chronic health conditions, with chronic mental health conditions. I have spent 12 years joining the dots. I have coached over 700 leaders through burnout. I have trained over 150 coaches from 14 countries in being burnout informed and also master burnout coaches. Now, from my perspective, I believe that if my coaches had been able to spot the burnout for my burnout 1 and my burnout 2, my life could have looked very, very different over the last 12 years. I believe that coaches are like the secret weapon in the fight against burnout when we fully understand what burnout is. And if we're not joining the dots and looking at the whole picture, we continue to perpetuate the lies, spread misinformation, put helps and habits and hints and tips and all sorts of stuff like that is not helpful for anybody, because you can't set a boundary whilst you're in burnout, right? Burnout fundamentally changes your brain. Again, I talk about this in another video. We need to stop spreading the small bits of information. We need to stop assuming that we fully understand what burnout is, when actually we're probably doing more harm than good. Now, if you have found this video helpful, please give us a like and a subscribe, help more people to find it. And if you would like to know more, I would love for you to come and join me in the Burnout Coach Collective, where it is packed full of burnout content, masterclasses, a monthly Ask Kelly Anything session. We have regular meets, regular coaching clinics to talk about real life coaching scenarios. I will drop the link in the comments. But for now, I am going to say thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.